So I'm not talking about the budget now with you, just to see where the implications are for mortgage advisors. And the point about Rishi's budget this week on the 27th of October is there's a few things going on. Why should we understand it as a mortgage advisor? Well, it's a bit obvious, really. If we're in financials services, which we are, we should have an understanding of the budget because the budget is finance. That's what budgets are for. And if your client wants to talk about it, you can chat about it in a knowledgeable way. Post-budget, you can get all sorts of people that produce budgets, summaries and things like that. It's not a big deal, but you should be understanding what's going on. So general chat to people. If you want to reconnect to clients, maybe connect with clients about what's going on in the budget itself. So let's just take a look at what's happening. What changes do we think are going to happen that will affect our business, our mortgage broking business? So I'm going to head over to the whiteboard now for you because I can. So head over to the whiteboard so I can pick up some ideas for you on here with my whiteboard pens. So there's 3 or 4 changes that Rishi's probably going to bring in, which will affect us. The first one is inheritance tax, IHT. Now, the thing about inheritance tax is the government did put a big push earlier this year towards simplification. And they can use that as an excuse to change things because they can blame it on complexity. And it is complicated. So they're looking to simplify inheritance tax. There's a few things they'll probably do here. They may well change the capital gains tax issue with inheritance tax. Not a lot of people are aware of this, but you have this thing called an uplift on death, a free uplift on death. So if somebody's got like a capital gain in their estate or in their assets and they die, then that just creates an IHT issue. There's no capital gains tax to pay on it. Do you see what I mean? So if you had a gain in paper, if you were to sell the asset, you'd have to pay capital gains tax. But you die instead, which wasn't intended, of course, then you don't have to pay capital gains tax. They might get rid of that. We don't know yet. We don't know how that's going to work. The other one is gifts and pets, really. Gifts and pets, potentially exempt transfers. He may do something about that. He might simplify it. He might make, I know, a lower rate or something. I don't know what he's going to do. But of course, that's going to affect equity release clients that you're dealing with. Equity release, of course, by its very nature, takes out a mortgage on a property, which reduces somebody's assets in order to reduce their inheritance tax, which is probably not the reason why you're doing it, but it has a knock-on effect. So we've got to take a look at pets and things, because if people are releasing equity from property and maybe giving it to their grandchildren for whatever reason, for education purposes or whatever, then it would probably enough money to be beyond the gift, a couple of thousand, and it may create a pet. So if they're changing the pet rules, you do need to understand that and know what's going on there. So there's a little sort of heads up for you. The other one as well, which also affects equity release clients, is pension funds. Let's put that up there for you, pension funds. Now, for those of you who are authorising pensions, you know full well that if you were to have a pension pot, which you haven't taken, and you die before the age of 75, that all heads over to your next of kin, free of any tax. Inheritance tax is the big one, of course. And that's been around for donkey's years, and it's a good thing. They might get rid of that. So again, you've got to think about your equity release client. Are they looking at a pension pot or a property worth a few quid? Which one are they going to use to take out their money for their retirement? Up until now, we've tended to go for the property because the pension fund can be very tax efficient, leaving it where it is. But if that changes, then you might have to change your advice. So be careful of that one. It's all about the, if you like, the death benefits. There you go. Before the age of 75. So take a look at what he does to that one. He may not do anything, who knows, but it's definitely worth thinking about really when it comes to it. The other one is they might do a change to dividend allowance. Now the dividend allowance, which of course dividends went up or going up next year, aren't they, by a quarter, 1.25% or something. But the dividend allowance of £2,000 may go. They might get rid of that because well, I don't know why it's there in the first place, if truth be told, but it's there. And he's trying to tax owner directors quite a bit at the moment. So that affects your SPV clients. If you're into the buy-to-let world and you're advising on property buy-to-lets and stuff like that, many of your clients may well have gone from sole owning towards a company ownership of the property, what they call a special purpose vehicle, SPV. Now, if that's the case, your client therefore gets his or her money from dividends or salary from the business. Now, that's going to affect them. So that may affect your advice that you give in that area as well. Also, capital gains tax, CGT, a big one that. Capital gains tax is going to be looked at, again, under the banner of simplification. We're going to simplify it because it's complex, and it is. And the biggest criticism is it's not aligned to income tax. The rates are different. The annual exemptions are different. So what he might do is align it with the income tax rates. Think about the implication of that, because at the moment CGT is quite low, unless of course it's a second property, it's quite high. But if they align it with income tax rates, generally speaking, it's going to go up. So for second homers, that's people who own second homes in the form of a buy-to-let or holiday let, or just second home because they can afford to do so, they will be liable to quite a bit of capital gains tax. If they're higher rate taxpayers, 40% is much, much more than they're currently paying. So you need to take a look at that. So what's happening there is they may well align it, let's put the thing up there, to income tax rates, which on the face of it seems okay. Let's tax these people. We need the money to pay for pandemic. But that, of course, will affect your clients who are buying second properties, because capital gains tax was payable on a second property. Now, the other implication I can see there is, well, you'll see how these things pan out, is that if suddenly he does that, Rishi, he will do it from a certain date, because that's how they roll, isn't it? He'll do it from, say, April 2022. So for the tax year 22-23, it will be applicable for. What that means, of course, is a lot of people with second homes who hire at taxpayers might try and flog them before the deadline. That's okay, because they don't want to pay the higher rate of capital gains tax. Now that, of course, will increase supply of property in the early part of the year, maybe around Christmas the year. It could hit the market November, December, January, February. Don't forget, most people view properties on Boxing Day nowadays on Rightmove. It's the national pastime, isn't it, to go onto Rightmove to view properties once James Bond's film's finished and you finish off the turkey. That's what people do. So you could see an influx in supply of property into the market, which would be great because we haven't got an awful lot of supply going on at the moment. So that again would affect prices of properties. Supply goes up, demand stays relevant, prices start to fall, don't they? So go take a look at that area, and maybe landlords that you deal with might want to stock up on their properties if they're being forcibly sold by other people. So that's capital gains tax. Now, the other one, of course, the big one for you, and it's not really budget related, but it's coincidentally the same kind of thing going on at the same time, is the monetary policy dudes are meeting up, aren't they? The Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee dudes are meeting up this week to determine interest rates. And there's all sorts of speculation going on. They'll probably increase them a little bit because inflation CPI is at 3.1%, which is over the Bank of England's target of 2%. So they will probably put a 0.25% maybe, or something like that, on interest rates. Now that will cause a big stir because suddenly interest rates start going up again. That will cause a big stir. You'll probably find lenders will increase their rates. The market for wholesale money will go up. What the Bank of England said as well is they're going to stop QE as well. No more quantitative easing. Because quantitative easing is only there when they can't reduce interest rates anymore to stimulate the economy. The economy is fairly stimulated, so they're going to stop QE now. And eventually, possibly when interest rates get up to sort of 1%, which won't be far away, probably middle of next year, they're going to start putting their bonds, which they all own, of course, back into the market. And that in itself will affect interest rates. Might start to trickle upwards, we don't know. So get your clients to remortgage now. But then again, Martin Lewis said that, didn't he? Simon says, Martin says. Martin Lewis said that last week. And the public believe in Martin Lewis. He said on the telly, didn't he? People should be remortgaging. I'm sure you've picked that up anyway as a method to help your business. So there's the budget. It's there, kind of things going on. And it's interesting because we should be in the know. We're professionals. Let's act like one and follow the budget. These are the key things I think that's going to affect mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers. Have a look at what's going on, and if so, look at the business opportunities that they bring in, because there will be some really good business opportunities post this.